Everyone, thanks for tuning in to D News Plus again today. I am your host, Trace. If you didn't know that, maybe this is your first time at D News Plus. If so, take a second and subscribe. Also, check out yesterday's episode, because yesterday we talked about what gold is exactly and where it came from. And today and down the line, we're going to talk about why it's valuable and how it's used for money over time and what can be used for besides money. So make sure you stick around for all of these episodes. Make sure you check out yesterday's if you haven't, but let's kick into this. So, for thousands of years, gold has been considered valuable. It's valuable because of the same reason that a lot of stuff is valuable. It's not common. Right? Rocks are not valuable because they're everywhere. Just standard rock. But specific rocks, like little diamonds, little gold, little things, they have value because they are rare, either because they're hard to find or because there's a manufactured market. That doesn't matter. For thousands of years, gold has been valuable. It was found in ancient artifacts as coins, decorations, signs of wealth and power. And it started that way. You got to get real deep into the history to find out. There is no specific thing like gold or paper money that holds on to its value, right? If you trade a coat for a fish, you might think that that coat is valuable because it's cold, but you might think that fish is valuable because it's hungry, right? You have a limited time to trade that fish for something, and the coat will eventually fall apart. What I'm trying to say is bartering has long-term limits. However, when you introduce something that everyone can find valuable, like a precious stone, then it can hold its value for longer. Right? Currency is that. The reason we picked gold is because it's rare. You can't just walk down the street and pick up gold, right? You have to search and you have to dig and you have to find and then you have to process and usually you have to form it into something pretty and then you can use it for something and put value on it. It's not impossible to get though. I mean, we think of it as rare, but it's not impossible. Platinum, which is fairly common in jewelry stores today, is 15 times rarer than gold in the Earth's crust. But it's more valuable, but not practical to use as day-to-day currency. So gold is precious enough in that it's rare enough, but not so rare that no one can get it. You don't want to make your currency so small that, you can't even use it. It's not practical. So gold is just that perfect balance between the two. It's common enough where we can get to it, but rare enough that not everybody has it. So if you look at the periodic table, gold stands out for a lot of reasons. You can hold it, for one. I mean, think about it. Look at the periodic table. Can you hold oxygen or helium or mercury or krypton, all of these other things? Not really. You can't hold them. You can't grasp them. You can't show them off. There are non-practical elements in this way that are valuable, but you can't carry them around in your pocket. Gold coins work a lot better than a bucket of mercury. Like, hey, I like that coat. How many mercuries do you want? It just doesn't work. Of course, mercury is also poisonous, and you can hold it. I mean, you literally can hold mercury in your hand. I wouldn't recommend it, though. Don't, try that at home. You also don't want to have a statue plated in something that can make you sick, like mercury, and something that's radioactive. You definitely don't want that. You also don't want coins made of lead or vanadium or arsenic because that wouldn't be good for your skin, wouldn't be good for your body. And so you don't want polonium, you don't want radium, you don't want uranium. Long story short, gold, relatively safe. You can put it in your mouth. You can actually not just bite it like you see in the movies to test how pure it is because of the softness, but you can also literally eat it. Gold leaf, or very thin hammered out gold, can be put onto food and you can ingest it. There's also false teeth. You can literally use gold in your mouth because it's not toxic to you. In fact, the most toxic thing about gold is the mining of gold. Gold is also not super reactive. Like lithium and sodium and potassium, they all react with water. If you were to drop potassium in water, look it up on YouTube, some people have done it, it is crazy. Iron, copper, and lead, they also react, but with air, right? Iron rusts. If you were to just leave an iron coin out on your desk for a couple of years, you'd have a real rusty coin. But you can leave gold out, and it stays pretty good. Silver, gold, and platinum are referred to as coinage metals because they don't react with most things. Basically, if you have a coin that has value, you don't want that value to disintegrate before you can use it. Gold is good at this. As we mentioned earlier, Gold has also got a great melting point. It's very low in comparison to other metals. So you can make it into shapes that you want. It's very malleable. Titanium and zirconium have way higher melting points, so to form them into something useful is much harder, and early civilizations did not even have the technology to do that. So when they found gold, this easy to hold, shiny, pretty attractive, easy to form mineral, of course, it was just rare enough and just common enough that people could use it and show that they could grab this thing. They could hold on to this thing and show it off to their friends. It, of course, also helps that gold is pretty to look at. I mean, that has something to do with it. Humans like shiny things. Gold is extremely reflective, which makes it very shiny. And according to the Journal of Consumer Psychology, this is all based on an evolutionary biological reaction. The desire, wait for it, for water. Their study got a bunch of participants together and they divided them up. And they gave some crackers and water and they gave some crackers. Basically, they created two groups, one that was thirsty and one that was not thirsty. Not in the modern, sense. They literally wanted water. They were also asked to look at pictures. Some of them were on glossy paper and some of them were on matte paper. Thirsty people, this is true, thought images on glossy paper were more attractive. They think, the researchers think that this is because of the shine on the paper. It reminded them of water. Just to give you an idea of how kind of strange that is. Gold has held its value for thousands of years. The oldest gold coins ever found are over 2,000 years old. And there's evidence that gold was used in jewelry as far back as 4000 BCE, 6,000 years ago in Eastern Europe. Ancient Egypt, they started mining and using gold and used it for international trade in 1500 BCE. The Middle East started using gold as currency, and the Greeks in 550 BC did as well, and soon societies in China and Persia and Europe, they were all using this common gold. South Americans started working with gold around 900 AD, spreading to Great Britain, of course, by the 13th century. And gold was one of the major reasons that people wanted to go and explore the New World. Also to spread Christianity, they said, but mostly really gold. One of Columbus's main objectives was, of course, to find gold. That was one of the things in the checklist that he left with from Europe. He's like, okay, well, spread Christianity. Okay, yeah, sure. But mainly this really big one, find gold. His original target was said to be, and I quote, an island of endless gold, based on reading Marco Polo's accounts of Asia. Of course, Columbus did not find all of the gold he wanted, and instead found a bunch of notoriety for a variety of political reasons that are still debated today, including massacres and dying while mining for gold. And some historians say that a native's hands would be cut off if they didn't meet their gold quota. So, things not so great in that way. But the world spread and started looking for gold in the New World. By the early 18th century, Brazil became the biggest gold producer, and gold rushes occurred, of course, in the 19th century, but not just in the United States where you're thinking of it. It also occurred in Australia and South Africa, transforming those places forever because of this new economy of this precious metal. Gold is still, of course, a valuable commodity today. It's no longer used as a gold standard. It's not the backbone of our economies, setting the pace for the currency and such, but it's used to track economic health. Today, gold is used for a bunch of other reasons as well, not just for wealth or jewelry or currency. It's rare enough but common enough that we've started to test it to do other things. To find out what those are, you'll have to check back tomorrow for our third episode and final episode of this shorter series on gold, so make sure you subscribe so you get that. Why don't you let us know down in the comments if you love gold as much as humans seem to have loved gold. I'm not a huge fan of gold. I think it's a little tacky. I'm more of a platinum guy myself. But let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe for more D News. Come find me over on Twitter. I'm at Trace Dominguez. Thanks for tuning in.